Hello and welcome back to Core Finance. I'm Matt Brown. I'm joined today by Guy Shone of explainthemarket.com. Guy, good day to you. Briefly for our viewers, new viewers, just explain what explainthemarket.com is.
Well, Explain the Market is an economic research business. So we spend half of our life getting under the skin of the big trends that are going on all around the world. And the other half we spend telling the story of what we find in the media. So we work with brands like the BBC and Sky and yourselves and The Sun and The Times and all sorts of different outlets. And we try and sort of look particularly for those stories that are business and finance stories, but also angles where we can kind of engage wider groups of people too.
And today we're going to talk about the Great British Staycation. We're in, some will disagree, the middle of summer now. Some may say it's over with the weather we've had of late. And I believe you've done a piece recently with regards to the staycation.
Yeah, we did. We've been doing some research into this, and we know if you look at the data that the number of us actually holidaying at home has been steadily increasing year on year for the last few years. So I think it's just over 50 million holidays at home were taken since the start of 2016. So very, very big number. But what we're finding is there are some quantitative trends. So that, for example, the length of holiday people are tending to take now has gone down. So there are less 2-week holidays being taken, much shorter breaks taken much more frequently. But there are also some quite interesting qualitative trends as well. And we spent some time actually asking people, well, what is it you're looking for from that holiday at home? Why is it you're so attracted to doing this? And we found some quite interesting results. We found that actually there were a large number of people, just over 40% of the population, were really focused on the ability to actually drive to a location. It was such an advantage with sort of queuing for flights and all sorts of press that we've had around how difficult it can be, yes, particularly with a family, to actually get to your destination.
And is this families or couples or both?
One of the interesting things for us was that it is both. It's right across the board. And the other interesting trend we found was that people are really looking for a sense of adventure now in a holiday. Mm-hmm. They're looking to spend a relatively short amount of time away from the rat race, but actually really immersing themselves away from the smartphone in some sort of sense of adventurous setting, if you like. Now, obviously, that means different things to different people, but we work with Mini on the research and
the car company.
The car company, and they've been embracing this sort of trend as well, and they've just launched their new Countryman model with an optional extra, which is you can actually stay in a tent. You can have a tent that sort of pops up on the top of the car. Yep. And they're sort of parking that at all sorts of interesting spots around the country to sort of demonstrate this new trend, if you like. So we're seeing sort of younger people looking for that, but also families too. And trends like glamping and all of this sort of these new initiatives to get people out into the sort of great outdoors, I think are sort of examples of that.
Yeah. Do you think there are kind of push and pull factors? You already mentioned the experience that a lot of people flying abroad are having, but do you also see it's maybe tourism boards really kind of understanding the idea of the staycation and really kind of promoting themselves? And also, for example, the pound since Brexit, or the Brexit vote, is worth less when you go abroad. So do you think these are driving factors in the uptick that we've seen in the staycation?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about that. So in the research data we found, the exchange rate was a factor. Mm-hmm. More generically, sort of concerns or just a sort of general sense of concern around Brexit, I think, was not a major factor, but it was certainly something people were conscious of. So I think there are a whole range of reasons why people are opting to stay at home, perhaps more than they have done before. And the other thing we asked about in the research was what do you particularly like about your staycation? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that people mentioned the most was the view, was how much the public is almost falling in love with mm-hmm. these iconic views again across the country. And so we got people to sort of rank, where's your favourite view, and Mini are going to be parking their car at some of those iconic viewpoints across the country to sort of make that point. But it's just fascinating that whether you're a young person or someone with a family, more and more people now are sort of wanting to get out into the British countryside and perhaps rediscover some of these places that as a child themselves they went to visit, and now they want to try and find out, well, let's go back again as an adult and see if we can enjoy that all over again.
And you mentioned the adventure holidays. Now, we live in a world where we're plugged into a laptop or television. We have a lot of kind of mobile devices as well. So I assume people are now trying to get off the grid and away from the rat race. And I guess parts of the country don't have mobile phone masts because they have beautiful views and reasons, planning permission, they can't do that. Do you see that as an attraction now for individuals and families?
I mean, this is one of the most interesting points it was the tension around this. When you look at the evidence from the qualitative side of the research, you find that it's both a good and a bad thing. So people get often frustrated that they can't get the network access they need when they need it. Mm-hmm. But then they equally get frustrated when there's almost sort of too much availability. So I think this is all about control. And in a world where during the working week, many of us often don't have too much control to just turn off, jump off the grid just for a few minutes to get some respite, that actually a staycation or any holiday is an opportunity to gain back some control over that and just say, right, just for today, I actually won't be available. And when I say I won't be available, I mean I won't be available. Mm-hmm. So I think, there's all sorts of evidence about challenges around mental health that, being the sort of always available can cause us, and addictions to smartphones and things of that nature. So I think it is becoming increasingly important for people themselves to be able to control, that access, and to sort of get back in control of their life again.
Well, on that note, I think I'm going to jump in my car and drive off to the country somewhere without any internet access. Guy Shone of Explain the Market, thank you very much for joining us today.